Welcome to Real Estate Investing for Women. On this show, you will learn how to create wealth through real estate the blissful way. That means with very little stress and very little time. We talk about strategies, mindset, heart set, money smarts, resources, and so much more to ensure you're able to create the success you most deeply desire. Now, here's your host, Monica Sawyer.
Ladies, today I am so excited to welcome to the show Ruzanna Queenan. Ruzanna is the president of Quinnen. I love that name, Quinnen, a planning and investment firm that focuses on the needs of successful women property investors. Ruzanna helps her clients secure multiple streams of passive income and put in place a robust plan to protect their wealth. Ruzanna spent the first 20 years of her career working at some of the most prominent firms in the financial industry and has gained expertise in investing, consulting, financial analysis, and data science. Her career included big names in finance such as Fidelity Investments, Sapient, and Affiliated Managers Group. Ruzanna was a vice president at the State Street Bank when she decided to leave corporate America and start her own business. Ruzanna lives in Beverly, Massachusetts with her husband and 2 teenage children. She is an avid reader and a fierce tennis competitor. Ooh! She volunteers at the Women's Foundation of Boston and is a financial coach for a local nonprofit. Hello there, Rosanna. How are you?
Good, Monica. I'm so excited to be on the show. I've heard so many of the episodes of your podcast, and your energy and your way of just being in the world has excited me for so long. So I'm looking forward to this conversation.
Yay! I love that. You know, when I record these shows, so much of the time I put them out there and I feel like it just goes out into the ethers. Like I don't get any feedback. And so it's so nice to talk to listeners. You can call me, we can talk. And also to have people like you, Rosanna, on the show that are inspired by the show and that it's made a difference for. So thank you so much for that.
Of course.
So, Rosanna, before we even get started, we're going to be talking about financial planning and how real estate fits into that plan. But could you first define financial planning? Because I know you're not just a regular financial planner that we're used to hearing from.
Absolutely. To me, financial planning is not an event, it's a process. And at the heart of financial planning for me is essentially life planning. What the first question that I want to find out when I start working with clients, what is it that you want out of your life? What excites you? What motivates you? What is your ambition? How would you like to live your life now, 10 years from now, 30 years from now? Because once I know those answers, I can start looking at person's resources and using their resources to help them achieve that life. Our money is it's one of the most important resources we have, but most people squander it and not use it to its advantage. There are so many factors about money that are so deeply emotional and can be limiting and intimidating. So actually being comfortable with money, I think, is also part of financial planning. So a lot of times when you marry life with finances, it becomes something more, it's not as intimidating. It's becoming more familiar and more comfortable for people, in which case there is more excitement to actually look at your budget, look at your investments, and make consistent progress over time.
No, I love that. You know, people are often, when I talk to women, first of all, they don't want to talk about money and they get very uncomfortable with the fact that I love to talk about money, right? As a matter of fact, frequently I'm judged as being a this is terrible, but money grubbing, money focused, blah, blah, you know, there's all sorts of names that women will project onto other people because they're focusing on money. And it's not anybody's fault one way or the other, but the reality is that in this this culture, and this is not true everywhere in the world, by the way, but just in this culture, we don't like to talk about money, at least as women. Men are totally fine with it, but as women, for some reason, we think it's not our role, it's not our place, it's not something that we should be focused on. If we do, that we're bad, and that none of that stuff is true, because here's the truth. Money is what the world is kind of based on. It doesn't mean that it's the only thing. I think love makes the world go round. Bliss is our highest priority. But to have those things and be able to really focus on those things, money's got to be your foundation. Just because it allows you choice and freedom. As long as you're focused on money, as long as you don't have money, it's going to be the thing that dominates everything in your life. I've said to people that, the people that don't have money are the ones that focus on it the most. They're thinking about it all the time. They're worried about how they're going to make ends meet. They're worried about it all the time. So allow yourself to unfocus on it and enjoy it when you do get to focus on it. And the other thing is, I'm sorry, I just got on my soapbox, but you so inspired me.
No, this isn't yes, I talk about the money all the time.
And one of the things that you said that I really, really want to highlight is, when you marry life with money, so much magic can happen. And so many people, men and women, we think of money as over there. It's something separate from ourselves. But bliss can't happen unless you realize that everything that you do in your life is integrated. Even if you think it's over there, that means that it's tearing a piece of you apart. There's a piece of you that's not being accepted. And part of bliss is aligning with all of those pieces. The money, the relationships, the health, the work, the kids, all of those things are you. And how you do anything is how you do everything. So really integrating money into that circle allows it to service you and provide for you rather than be a stress point. I mean, everything in our life, all the things we love, can be a stress point. There's no such thing as everything being totally easy, but it's a stress point in the way that everything else can be. In other words, it's not its own weird, detached, like monster that people think of it as. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. I think money is one of those things that it is whatever you make of it.
Of
But
course.
when I think about money, I think about energy. And energy that propels you forward to where you want to go. And if you think about money as a positive force in your life, that's what it will be.
Right.
Once you accept that, you know what, I am okay with talking about money. I'm okay, but also I'm okay with my fears. Maybe it's the way you grew up. Maybe where there were some family preconceptions that totally sort of jaded you against money. And at some point, and most of us get to our 30s and 40s and throughout adult life, not even having examined or actually realized those effects. So if you look back and start to unpack your feelings towards money with the view of, these are just the way things are, I just need to understand them and see how I can change them, and take away these limiting beliefs about money, then in that case, you start viewing money as something that can help you versus something that you need to be afraid of or be stressed out about. You're right. When you're waking, if you're stressed out about money and you're waking up at 3 o'clock at night thinking about how you're going to pay your bills, that doesn't really make for a good morning or a ton of joy in your life.
Right. I mean,
Yes.
certainly we can have joy no matter what. And I don't want people to have the impression that I am saying, or you are saying, that bliss is externally motivated or inspired. But life is just easier when you have less stress. And money causes a lot of stress. Otherwise you're trying to create bliss in spite of stress. Instead, why not just lower that stress, right? So there's lots of different approaches to creating bliss. So I love that, and very well said. It is just, money is just energy. It's just a tool. You can do good things with it. You can do bad things with it. You could do really good things with it, right? So much of the growth in the world and helping of the poor comes from the rich, So there's a lot of, and really terrible things happen for people from money with people from people with money also. So you just choose who are you going to be with money, and then you do that thing, right? So,
Right.
but it is just energy. It's just a tool. So well said. Sorry I got on my soapbox there. You just so inspired me. That was so much fun.
Well, such an important topic, especially
Yeah.
for women. I think the more conversations we have, the better.
Yeah, I agree. So, Rosanna, talk to me a little bit about how you got into financial planning specifically.
Oh my gosh. So yes, as I started my career in finance and investing so many years ago, and I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the both the quantitative numbers aspect of it, but also its impact on your life. And to me, investing is just our chance to participate in human progress. Right? When you think about investing, there are two sides. There is somebody with an idea who's looking for capital, and there is somebody with capital who either don't have the time, the ideas, or the inclination to develop something awesome and amazing. So when these two forces come together, that's how we get innovation. That's how we get progress. That's how our lives get better. So the idea of investing has always been really integral to my life, and encouraging other people to see that way and invest is what's been also companion to me throughout my career. And when I worked for the banks and the investment firms and the hedge funds, I never really saw who the investor was. They were institutional investors. They were huge index funds. I knew people were in those funds, but I was always curious. What are they doing with this money? What kind of an impact do they want out of their lives? Am I helping somebody, or what happens? It was a time in my career where I was ready just to say, okay, do I want to keep climbing the corporate ladder and then just be exposed to everything that entails being in corporate America, versus do I want to just be my own boss and have my own business and just see that side, working with people and working with families, investing for them, to really just to see the impact on their lives of my work and my interactions and my advice. So that's how I decided. I call this, I fired myself from a job that I really wasn't really feeling very inspired about, and then started my own business, and that's how I became a financial planner.
Got it. And then did you go the regular financial planning path where you got your financial planning degree or certification, and then you started representing certain products or whatever? Or have you done it sort of in a different way? Because I know you include real estate in your financial planning, and that's not normally what a financial planner would include. So how did that happen for you?
Yeah, so that's interesting. I think I had my own path because I didn't come from sort of the financial I didn't work before at a financial planning firm or an asset management firm. So I had my certification as a chartered financial analyst back from 2007, and that's one the highest certification that you can get in the investing world. That allowed me to circumvent all the licensing and just start being a registered investment advisor, where I could there. I mean, the financial industry is so regulated, and for a good measure, obviously. For
Mhm.
it's good for the advisors to be regulated, but there are certain things that I needed to put in place to have like a real business. I did not start working with companies or brokerages. I've always been independent because I wanted to
Mhm.
have objectivity and invest in what I thought was good for my clients versus what my company told me to invest in, or something that where I would gain commissions. So I am completely fee only, which means that that my business model is based on my time and my expertise that I bring to the table.
Mhm.
And I can be can be very client focused with picking investments that are lower on fees, but really good on the returns. And yes, how did I come to property investing? As I started to work, I went just like every business owner. You go to so many networking events in the beginning. Hey, here I am. I just started my new business. Then I came across a lot of realtors, and through conversations, I just got interested in real estate. That led me to starting to develop expertise in real estate and property investing. And I saw that there is quite a bit of, to your point, most financial advisors don't have a ton of interest or inclination to work with real estate for many reasons. But again, there is a part of financial advisor job that just deals with investment, but as we said earlier, it's people's lives that are the important part, and anybody, regardless of how they invest, need guidance. And to a point, property investors need as much, if even not more, guidance, because it's so varied, right? There is taxes, there is time you spend on your properties, it's just more complex, right? And there are so many issues that need financial planning that I thought that I think there is still a big gap.
Mhm.
So to me, it's very satisfying to close this gap, even to the small extent that I can do it personally.
Yeah, I love that. So why did you develop this specialty of helping women property investors?
I think a few days ago, I came across a post on LinkedIn. It was somebody at Fidelity, and she had happened to go to a executive conference where there were the attendance was from really top level CEO executives. And she mentioned how some of these women, the panelists and the speakers, came to her and said how unsettled they were in their own finances. So at any level of life and corporate success, or at any professional achievement that women have, finances seem to be something that women are uncomfortable with.
Mhm.
And to me, there is a huge opportunity for us as women to advance in this area of our lives and just own it. Again, going back to our money conversation, why is it such a big sort of cultural limitation around women and finances? It starts early, right? Oh, I don't like math, I don't like numbers, and all of a sudden, money is numbers. It's not something I want to deal with. When in your work and probably in my work, we see it all the time that numbers is a small part of it.
Mhm.
And it's just I don't know, like fifth grade math, right? It's the habits, it's the attitude, it's the mindset, and that's where the work is.
Mhm.
And women are such good learners, and they're such good listeners when they trust you.
Mhm.
So I'm very interested in just helping women help themselves, and also their families, and pass it on to the next generations, both boys and girls, just to have that kind of a conversations at dinner table, have position their kids to be independent financially, and also never worry about running out of money, which is a
Yeah.
completely different huge topic
Yeah.
in and
It's so
of itself.
funny. Yeah, that whole thing about running out of money, it doesn't mean that you have to have a lot of money, but you have to feel confident enough that you know enough about it that you won't run out. You know what I mean? I talk about the stories of when I was very, very young and I started investing in real estate. And I'll be honest, I was broke. I mean,
Mm,
we were on such a tight budget. But I never worried that I'd be on the street. I never worried that I couldn't take care of myself because I had a plan. That
mhm.
plan was in place, in process. I was taking action and I was learning. So no matter what was going on today, I knew I would always be able to take care of myself. And so that just knowledge and conversation and kind of being comfortable with it allows you the freedom to just be confident in yourself and your life, that you can take care of yourself. It's such a simple thing. You don't have to be rich to feel safe.
Mhm.
right? I mean, so many of us women, part of the problem is that we don't know. And we're afraid because we don't know. And then we're going to be left hanging high and dry and we won't know what to do. Well, that all can be managed. It's not actually the money. So money creates safety and choice. Absolutely. But to get there, there's a lot more about us and who we are internally that
Mhm.
give us that safety and choice to build the lives that we want. And you can do that whether you're rich or not. That starts with you. So I really love what you were talking about there, is that just we're not even having the conversations. We don't have the confidence, we don't have the knowledge, we don't have the comfort level with it, you
Mhm.
know?
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you about the importance of the conversations and also planning. To me, women have for so many years been just sidelined by the financial industry and all the talk about sort of wealth transfer and increasing resources, but there is no real path to help women actually take a good advantage of that of the wealth transfer. I think every woman needs her own financial plan because our lives, if you look at it in relation even to our spouse, they're joint, but they're also different. It always shocks people when I mention that the average age of widowhood is 59. You would think it's much higher, but it's not. And the reality is that women do live longer than men. And that I have a friend who always says that you will be there to take care of your spouse, but your spouse will not be there to take care of you. So you need to know that you can be taking care of yourself, and how that's going to go is a conversation you want to start having in your 40s or even early. It's just something that takes so long to set yourself up for financial success later in life. You need to know where your income is going to come from, that it's going to be enough, that you're going to be covered, there's going to be enough resources. One of the most important things is your healthcare costs, right? If something happens to your spouse and most of your assets go to take care of him, well, what's left for you? Do you know? What if that happens? There are so many issues that are just too scary and uncomfortable to speak of. But you also need to have the courage and the foresight and self-love to actually have those tough conversations and really have that plan.
Hmm. I
Yeah.
love that you talked a little bit about, you really need to start having these conversations in your 40s. Because there's a lot of people that think, oh, I'm too old, I didn't start early enough. And there are other people that think, oh, I'm so young, I don't need to think about this. And when we talk about in the 40s, first of all, nobody else has ever said that, Rosanna. People are always talking about, oh my gosh, you're going to retire, hustle, hustle. This is what you need to do. Or, you're in your 20s, you got a lot of time, start planning. But we don't talk about people in their 40s, their mid 30s to mid 50s, is that age where we're really, really planning for the next chapter in our life, you
Mhm.
know? And it's very literal for a lot of us women, right? We go through menopause and our children leave the house and all sorts of things happen during those years. And we forget that this is a time that we really can focus on ourselves and really build for a future that feels a lot more safe, right? Maybe we were so focused on the kids before that, or we were so focused on whatever it is before that. Now it's time to focus on us. And of course, if you've missed the 40s and you're further along, it's never too late. Like, there's always strategies and plans. But I love that you brought that up, because in that midlife time is not a time that people are really focused on finance. They're focused so much on their emotional health, if now they've got an empty nest, right? Or I'm going through
Yes.
all this hormonal stuff, or whatever it is. But that's a time that we can really think about. That's a piece of our caretaking, that now we've got some space and time in our lives to focus on this thing that maybe we haven't focused on so far. So I just love that you said that. Do you see that there are unique financial issues that property investors face above and beyond what we were sort of talking about here? But I know that there are specific things that we have to deal with. What is it that you see out there?
There are several things that I see. it depends. There are so many ways to invest in property and real estate, right? Whether you're invested in rental real estate or multifamily investing, they're different, but also related. So it's one of them is absolutely the cash flow and its stability. Right. How are you going to make sure that you market your properties at all times to keep the vacancies down? The second thing is just the profitability and really digging into the numbers and knowing your books. I think that has to do with also being a business owner, right? So a lot of times you'll just see the cash coming in versus really digging into your expenses and modeling into the future. One of the first things that I see is, okay, so it's not, you shouldn't be guessing how many properties you should be invested in if you want to make a certain amount of passive income. So there, I have a model where you start, it's like, okay, let's figure out what is your annual budget, and say you retire in 25 years, what that's going to look like. When I put those numbers in, even with like 3% inflation, people are shocked as to how much money they're going to need every month and every year. And then we look backwards and say, okay, what does this translate in terms of a proper number of properties? And again, there is a realization like, oh my God, it's not going to be one or two. It could be 10, it could be more, it could be 20. And then it comes to how do I model my property investing to reach a certain goal. So that's on the rental real estate side, and also all of the protections that you need to put in place. Insurance is becoming exorbitantly expensive, right? So if you want to really be continuing in properties, how are you going to cover those costs? Which markets? And I think as a real estate expert, I'm sure you're familiar with all of those things. And on the sort of if you're invested in multifamily, it's the stream, like it just kind of, it comes and goes. So having those partners you can trust and counterparts who you know will actually deliver what they promised over time is very, very important. So those are, I think I've seen those two things, just really having a plan. And in this way, it's similar. You've got to have a plan regardless of what you invest in.
Yeah. Let's talk about that plan. How should they properly plan for retirement? I mean, you gave us kind of a high level there, but could you give us a little more detail on what that looks like?
Yeah, so I think when it comes to retirement plan, so just so I'll give you just an example of how I work with my retirement clients. So when somebody starts working with me, we have this onboarding process, which could take several weeks to a couple of months. We have very structured meetings. In the first one is your vision. What is it that you want your life to look like, and what is what kind of retirement would you ideally be living if you had no constraints? So we put that down in a vision document that we can refer to over time, and it's sort of like our project plan. It's our goalpost. Then we look at what is it that a person has right now. It's just getting organized with all of your financials, all of your properties and net worth, just to see where you are in this world right now financially. And then we start looking at okay, how do we get from here? Where do we get from here to there? And there are maybe 5 or 6 aspects of our finances that we look at first. We devise a plan, we implement these actions, and then we review them going forward every year, or when there is a change. Because as we all know, the only constant in our lives is change.
Exactly.
Yeah. So as a framework, it comes to my vision. What do I need for it? And how do I get there? So the first, at the very basic level, is, okay, am I going to have enough income? And then am I getting my income? Well, I need to have assets that generate that income. So what does my asset base look like? And we invest in assets and then generate the return and the income, and then we protect it. What are the insurance policies that you need to put in place to protect your income? What is the estate planning that you need to do to make sure that that you have protection from both probate, but also looking at your family's finances, that it's right for you. And then we look at your life going forward. Well, there is going to be, you're going to get older, like you're going to go to the doctor. I think there's this Fidelity did a study a couple of years ago, and they said that for a couple in their about 65 retiring today, you need about $300,000 in out-of-pocket healthcare expenses. So that's a lot of liquidity that you need to plan for.
In your life, for the rest of your life? Is that what you were?
Yeah. So for your retirement period, say you retire at 65, and that's for people who also get Medicare. So that's not even including the hospital stay. It's all of your copays, your doctor's visits that are not covered by Medicare. So it's just it goes. And with the inflation and the costs rising every year, that's a lot of money. Are you going to, so to cover you, maybe some of your expenses will go down. You're not working, the kids don't need that much help. So some expenses go down, some really exponentially increase. And then one topic that nobody likes to talk about is long-term care. Where does that fit into your overall plan? So that's the process, and I do believe that financial planning is a process that never really stops. So it's just constantly adjusting to what's happening in your life, and picking out the right financial tools and strategies for your needs.
Yeah. I love that. I feel like we could just keep talking forever.
It is an endless conversation.
It is, I know. So what would you say to people that are on the fence about getting a financial planner?
Yeah, so financial, when I say what I do, what I typically like to say that you can be open with me about your deepest financial fears, and be confident that you will receive advice that's right for you. Because when you work with me over the years, we build a relationship. I know you as a person. I start to recognize what's important for you, how you think, how you feel. And when you ask me a question, then I know what the right answer is going to be. The fact that I know a lot of the strategies and just this knowledge base that is a given. But then having that trusted advisor relationship, I think, is super important for both your confidence and your peace of mind. And having somebody who has your back, I think is super important.
Yeah. I love that. And I think it's really important to note when you've got a financial planner that has your long-term goals in mind, and is planning on building a long-term financial relationship. So I've met a lot of financial planners. None of them have been on this show, but I have met them along the way, where they basically sell you life insurance and then they're gone. They're on to the next customer. But it's important to find a financial planner who is interested in building a long-term relationship with you and meeting frequently, or, and all of those things. So that's really, really good.
Yeah, I think the most important thing we do is stop you from making an emotional decision at the wrong time, because money is emotional. If you invested in the stock market and the stock market moves against you, you want to sell. If you don't have that conversation with a planner who can stop you from making the wrong choice, you might be driven to make a rash decision, and then figuring out how to really get back into it and how to, quote unquote, fix it. It just may be too much, and then you may just lose years and a lot of your financial security. So to me, it's just as much psychology as it is money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, ladies, I'm loving this conversation with Rosanna, and I wanted her to talk about her perspective on how to protect wealth. So she doesn't just talk about structuring, she talks about insurance, she talks about planning for legacy, she talks about a lot of things around all the topics around protecting your wealth. So we're going to continue that conversation, but we're going to do that in extra. So those of you that are subscribed to Extra will be able to have that conversation then. Before we move into our 3 rapid fire questions, Rosanna, could you tell people how they can get in touch with you?
Yes, I would love to for people to reach out to me. The first easiest way is on LinkedIn. It's under my name, Ruzanna Queenan. I'm very active on LinkedIn. My website is queenvestllc.com. I have a YouTube channel that you can look up. It's called Simplify Your Options. Instagram is another great way to see what I'm up to. And I have recently put together a guide that is on 10 ways of growing passive income, and I called it I think it's making money in your sleep because these are really just ways that you put it into an investment, and it grows.
Perfect. And all of that information will be on the website, blissfulinvestor.com. Just look for the blog attached to this podcast, and you can see all of those links, even for the free gift. And if you do reach out to Rosanna, please let her know you heard about her through this show. I like my guests to feel like their time with me was worth it, other than just the great conversation. So if you reach out to her, please let her know you came from Anika. Okay. So, Rosanna, let's do our 3 rapid fire questions. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All righty. Give us one super tip on getting started in real estate investing.
Learn the financial statement. Learn the income statement of a real estate investment.
Okay.
Because if you know how you're making money, where the money goes, and what the bottom line is, then you can do a lot with that kind of information, and that will become your superpower and accelerate your success.
Perfect. And then what is one strategy on being successful as a real estate investor?
Specialize. I think learn what type of investing and get as good as you can. Develop the relationships, whether it's geographic specialization, the type of an investment, or the type of a property. Just become so good at it that you can look at the numbers and know if they're right for you. You can get better at one thing, and it's good over time. It will be that much easier, and then you don't have to make so many decisions and choices. You can just go and be an expert and grow your wealth.
You don't have a learning curve for every single investment.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And then what is one thing that you do, one practice that you do, Rosanna, that you would say contributes to your personal success?
I think the best thing that I do for myself is how I start my days. I recently I I think that choice a lot of times, the decision making is gets in our way. So I have tried to really build one routine that I can count on, and I don't have to think about it. So then it just kind of takes it from there. So I go to the gym most mornings at the same time, do the same thing. I don't have to think about it. And then I come home and start my day.
Perfect. I love that. This has been so much fun. Thank you for everything you've shared with us on this portion of the show.
It's been my pleasure. It's been a great conversation, and thank you so much for having me, Monica.
Yeah, definitely. And ladies, thank you for joining Rosanna and us for this portion, and me for this portion of the show. That was royal us. There's more. In Extra, we're going to be talking about how to protect your wealth and sort of all the pieces of that puzzle. So if you are already subscribed to Extra, stay tuned. We've got more. And if not, go to realestateinvestingforwomenextra.com and you can sign up there. For those of you that are leaving us now, thank you so much for joining Rosanna and I for this portion of the show. I look forward to seeing you next time. And until then, remember, goals without action are just dreams. So get out there, take action, and create the life your heart deeply desires. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
I hope you enjoyed today's show. If you'd like to find out more about how to become a blissful millionaire, go to blissfulinvestor.com. See you next time.